So, in my like long recovery for the last, I don't know, 7 years, definitely relapsed once, pretty bad. Cinnamon. Um, I just want to talk a little bit about like my story and like where I came from and a little bit about me because I'm definitely not healed. I see glimpses of it, like your mind getting quiet, the meditation paying off, just the stillness bringing something godly into you, like your higher power, whatever you want to call it. But just like, I never really shared my story before. I'd rather do it on YouTube than like in a meeting because I'd love to reach enough people to like, help other people get to where they want to go with themselves. And I'm nowhere near there. Like I'm in the deep trenches. Like my mom just passed away. I lost a lot of friends. I'm working way more than I need to. Like I literally have to go to my job soon and I feel like I'm gonna throw up from just going from the stress of going somewhere like that. But that's where I'm at, And there's a lot of people out there who are like, they're there too. It's not easy to grow, to evolve, to change, like find yourself, but here's just a little bit of me. So they say in like yoga and spirituality that like you choose where you come into this world from. And I guess I chose to be the kid of two people who met in a rehab. And I don't think that's the easiest place to start from. They probably, I don't know the full story, to be honest. Like I might never know the full story, but they met in rehab. And after they got out, I don't know if they ever even finished the steps or whatever, they had me. They got married, I want to say because of me. That's what my adult self pretty much feels like, just getting in the information I could get. And they started a relationship. And I grew up in Boca Raton, Florida for about 2-3 years. And I remember being a kid, like it was a very normal life. My dad wasn't there, he was a chef. And my mom was always there around me. Little did I know that my mom was taking pain pills. And my dad would relapse occasionally on cheating with women or heroin or whatever he was taking. And I didn't find any of this stuff out till I was older. My parents were complete addicts. And when you're a kid and you're trying to be raised the right way, even if you aren't an addict, you might become one. And what do I mean by that? It's thinking. It's a disease of thought. It's a coping mechanism. It's, I'm going to teach you how to do what I did to survive. My parents were together until I was about 7. And my early childhood was really normal. Families, dinners, like I was surrounded by them, especially when I lived in New Jersey. Like it felt really normal. It wasn't until I was about maybe like 7.5, I noticed my dad cheating on my mom from a window. Saw him making out with some girl. And told my mom. And things started getting real weird after that. We moved back to Florida. I caught him again while I was staying at my grandma, my dad's side's house. And a couple days later, inside voice, go girl. A couple days later, she wound up, my dad wound up, just like running off and leaving. And I could tell I really wasn't gonna see him again. I'll never forget like running after this guy's car. It was like 7, like where you going, Afterwards, like I didn't know I was homeless, but my mom didn't have any money. My grandparents on her side did. And they put us up in a hotel on the beach. I was like, oh, you're on vacation. Then she found a realtor because my grandparents, like, once again, had money in Florida. It wasn't that expensive to get a condo back then. They decided to help my mom out, and the realtor decided to help us out so we didn't have to pay for a hotel anymore, let us stay in her grandparents' summer home or whatever. And we wound up moving into this place called Coconut Creek, Florida. I spent most of my childhood there. Wasn't an easy childhood. I was abused in school from the second I walked in and bullied while I was dealing with all this and not even knowing what was going on. They were telling me I had ADHD and trying to get me to go to therapy, which I wasn't willing to go to because I didn't understand what was going on. And the therapists weren't even trying to connect with me. They were like, oh, shove drugs down your son's throat. And my mom got in car accident after car accident. Her first one was when I was like 2.5, 3. She got hit by 2 18-wheeler trucks while she was pregnant with my sister in her belly. And I didn't know she was taking pain pills at the time. And this is kind of like this whole time she was in pain, she was just taking these pills because prescribed by her doctor. She was a cocaine addict, and she didn't even contemplate that these drugs were doing the same thing cocaine was doing to her, which unfortunately like led to her demise. But regardless, I was bullied all throughout school. It stopped around like when I was 16 or 17. I just, I got tall and bigger. I think people were just like, that guy might hurt us. And you're not wrong. I probably would have snapped, all I knew was anger and sadness. I didn't really know anything else. I would sit in my room playing video games like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Zelda all day long, because those heroes and those games were the only thing that made me think I could be a good person like them one day and maybe help somebody else out. Felt trapped. I always called myself like Harry Potter on the stairs because I lived in an adult neighborhood, 55 and up. We were the only kids in there. I met kids in other places, but I was like 17 when that happened, So I spent like 8 to 17 pretty much completely alone and isolated from like any real human contact, friends or family. It was horrible. Me and my sister would fight all the time, physical. My mom would just sit in her room getting high. She didn't know any better. She would love us. She was great at loving us, but she never loved herself. And when you are being raised by somebody who only loves you and never loves themselves, you just don't see how to take care of yourself, to do personal hygiene, to clean, to do things the right way. Like, I'm lucky about the people that I have around me now who've like helped me out with that tremendously, like being clean, organized, like at least where I'm at now, It was about like 17 or 18 I left my house. I went on a journey. Read this book called The Alchemist, and I was in college, and I was like, you know what? I need to get out there. I need to see what's out there. So I moved to Miami. I turned 20, moved to Miami, and I got a job at Nikki Beach, like random. And I wasn't drinking at the time. I was smoking a lot of weed, and whenever I did drink, I was having house parties at my mom's house. I was the smallest drinker there, because anytime I drink, I'd always take it too far. I wound up puking, and like, wasn't about that, When I was at Miami, I went to my first bar, like Ted's Hideaway, I think it was called. And it was an interesting spot. I drank and drove home. Nothing crazy then. I eventually turned 21 in Miami, and that was my first blackout. I found out like 6 years afterwards I blacked out at the time of my life, which is kind of funny and ironic, but it was showing that I had an issue already, that the alcohol was trying to let demons in my body because I wasn't happy with myself. I'd say 22, I moved to Los Angeles. I had a stint in Arizona, but I moved to LA. And while I was in LA, I really wanted to be an actor. I've always wanted to be an actor. I studied it. I put so much time, effort, and energy into it. And unfortunately, I found a drink first. And I found a nightclub. And I worked at this really, really big, successful, famous nightclub. I was like a busboy. And I had 2 goals in mind: meet girls and drink. And I did that for like 2 years. But of course, eventually, like, things weren't working out. I wasn't saving money. My grandparents died on my mom's side. And my mom would have to send me money to even help me, because all I would do was go out and drink. That was it. I would go to the gym and drink. I wasn't studying. I wasn't trying to get ahead. I just sat there and was miserable. Eventually, I wound up in a situation where I wasn't gonna have a place to live. My roommate decided to move back to England and get evicted from his place. And thankfully, like, my name wasn't on the lease, so push comes to shove, I wound up moving to this martial art dojo with Grandmaster Beyond You. And I think I found my biggest passion in life, which was martial arts. I just trained. I didn't drink, I trained. It was like living in a jail, because there was a point where I realized, like, I don't really know how to communicate with people because I was stuck here for so long. I lived there for like 3 years, and I came home to visit for the first time after my grandparents' death, and I saw my mom and my sister and how their life was. It kind of broke me. Hoarding, cigarettes everywhere, just like really bad. Like, I thought I could come back and fix other people. I was mistaken. I came back, and their house was not the right place for me to be in or heal. Maybe the dojo was, I don't know. I will never know. You can't regret the past nor the door in it, but I could say that I went to a bar right after, went to a bar the next day. I had money saved from taxes and all these things, and I spent it on alcohol. I chased drugs instead of healing myself, and then I started working at restaurants because of quick cash. It's like, let me just start doing this, and I started grinding out restaurant life, and benders started happening. My mom started getting sicker. My sister was like, no one knew, Eventually I did a self-help program, and, I was coming close to the realization I had a problem. My sister moved out at the time, but my mom was just snorting pills all day. And eventually my mom wound up homeless, living out of her car, and got kicked out of her house because she had dogs and forgot to pay her HOA fee. They were like, we want her out of here. So they got her out. was homeless for about a year, and I lived on a couch at my friend's house for about 6 months before I got my own room. And I couldn't help her. At that point, it was like I could not be alone in my thoughts. No one really knew what was going on in me. It was out to 5 or 6 a.m. every night. Please, somebody love me. Please, somebody be around me. Please, somebody enjoy my company. Please be my friend. And I had a lot of friends at the time, and I lost them all because I was drinking. I'll just be honest. I was drinking, and I did not have control of myself. A little bit after that, I met my sensei. He's been teaching me Okinawan karate for like 7 years now. And the first 2 years, I was super focused. I stopped drinking because I blacked out. Blacking out was my wake-up call. I felt possessed by a demon, and being like I meditate and was spiritual already and was already doing martial arts. When that finally happened, I realized like I'm gonna die if I keep doing this. Simple, like gonna die. And if it wasn't for martial arts, I wouldn't have had that connection with a higher power already. So I didn't walk into the rooms yet, but I did go to a couple meetings with my mom. Actually, I was scared to go. A little kid, right? And she was like, "Oh, you want to go to a meeting? Finally, let's go." Even though she was the one that like enabled me to even start doing drugs. Like, do them at your house. It's okay. Drink here, have parties here, do this here. I'd rather you do it here than somewhere else where you're not safe. And you're enabling me, and you're drunk too. Like, in a way, you're doing pills. Like, Anyway, push comes to shove. I start training, and COVID happens. My mom found a place to live before COVID, thankfully, so I was less stressed. And she wanted to help, of course. And she would bring over food because she had food stamps. I had no money. But the problem that I had was a sense of regression. And we're going back to me being like Harry Potter, right? Like stuck in a room. I regressed into that person again. And I started doing drugs. Acid, shrooms, alcohol. I would cry on every single one of them because it was going against who I really was. COVID ended. I wound up with a girlfriend who I just was enabled by. I would drink, she would drink, everything was fine. I was going home, I was spending all my money on her, and that's another issue that I've always had. Oh, please don't leave me. I'll spend money on you. Please, love me for who I am. And I'm still having struggles with that, just love me for where I am and where I'm at and watch me grow. I've just always wanted someone to do that with me. But sometimes you feel like you have it, sometimes you don't, But anyway, back to this. I kind of learned from that I was a drunk, that when I drink, I can't control my mind or my behavior, and I stopped drinking. My sensei wanted me to stop, and I would maybe drink once a month, and the bitters got worse, the sickness got worse, and I was like, this is not going well. Then I lost my best friend at my job. His name was Michael. He died. I drank. And something hit me that night because I missed this wake that my friends were having for him. I was the only one not there. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, I need to stop drinking. The next couple days later, I lost my best friend. Okay, that's crazy. And then I lost my final actual best friend, who I didn't even really know was my best friend. 2 to overdoses, 1 of natural causes. It was just, the pain was immense. I quit drinking. I went to AA that day. It was April 10th. I want to say 2021 or 2022. I'm not sure. I don't really keep track of time. It doesn't exist, right? And I was like, all right, I need help. So for my first year, I was in a meeting every single day, 5 days a week at least. And it was helping. I got a sponsor. I did the steps. But there was so much underneath the surface that it wasn't alcohol. I mean, validation, lust, weed, attention. I mean, validation, right? I would say I'm a bigger validation and fantasy addict than I am an alcoholic because I never drank in my room alone. I never drank with other people. I was addicted to my thought process. And that was way worse. And it was so hard to get over. And I didn't even realize it till year 3.5, year 3 of my sobriety. Oh, I don't have an addiction to substances. I have an addiction to the way that I think, and the way that I think causes me to have issues when I consume substances. So I can't have the substances and I can't have the thoughts. And it became a vicious journey. And my mom was there for me, even though she was, slowly dying every day because she couldn't stop doing drugs herself. She was my best friend and the person that I got validation from and could handle things because she was there. And one day she disappeared. I felt it in my gut she's not okay. I did a wellness check. She was brought into the ER. This was like year 3. I'm coming up on a year from it. So yeah, like year 3 sobriety, right? And she's dying. I could tell. I'm like, do you want to fight? She was half paralyzed. She's like, yeah. I'm like, let's do our best then. And I gave her a hug and a kiss, and I had to go to work. And I couldn't miss work because I couldn't pay bills, you know, like life's expensive these days. So I had to do what I had to do. And it sucks. I couldn't be there for her when she needed me the most. But I kept showing up. I was alone. I lost really important people to me the week this happened that were supposed to be in my life and weren't. My family wasn't there for me, and I just watched her die by myself. My sister came the last day. They didn't talk for 9 years, and I'm grateful for that. But I was alone for most of it. Her funeral came and went so fast. I couldn't even sit Shiva. I wound up taking mushrooms every day. Just like, please, somebody love me. I need my mom. I need something. I need somebody to be here. I need anybody. And I started losing my mind. I started slipping so deep into this validation addiction. A lot happened that year in a relationship with someone I really care about. And I'm grateful that they're in my life. And I learned what my actual addiction was, which is what like Halfway Healed's about. You know, it's not about just substances. You know, anybody can walk into a room of alcoholics and realize that drinking was an issue. There's a lot of people in those rooms that like don't get to the bottom of what their issue is. And that's why I'm calling them isms, because we're not just alcoholics or something on a deeper level. And you call it addiction, right? We can call it that, but I'd rather just have a word like isms, because it speaks more to all these things going on with our brains, our thought patterns, how we perceive social media, how this perceives us, how that perceives us. Like, these things are consuming people, and we need a place to go, and it's important. And I really believe that, you know, I can make a difference, even though I'm like halfway there. I have so much work to do. I don't think I'm going to stop having the work to do either. I don't. I think this is going to be an everyday thing for the rest of my life, and I hope it is. And I hope, you know, when you listen to this and like you could understand that like I'm no better than anybody else. I'm not some guru on here trying to like preach at you. I'm just like, these are things that I've done that work, and these are things that I do that don't work, and that's all I really want to talk about. It's like, okay, like here's a yoga flow. This really works for me when I'm really upset. Like, try it out. Or like, hey, like you're having a bad day and like you need to get out of your head, try this thing that I do sometimes. Like, you know, I wrote a book about it too, and as I get more followers, like I'll probably release it like as a PDF just to read and kind of get an idea of. But you know, the only thing that works, I always say this in like every one of my videos, the opposite of addiction is connection, and the opposite of depression is expression. So expressing yourself and getting connected, it's the healthiest way to do it. And if I can make a community of people that want to be connected, love, and inspire each other, that want to heal together, then like that's what we're here for. And we're not here for like this, like, oh, like look at me, I'm like some spiritual. We're not here for that. We're here for like the raw truth, right? Which is healing is messy, healing is dark, healing is not fun. It's not. It's painful. You have to go through something, and doing it sober and doing it without any substances might be the only way you can do it. Whether you're an alcoholic or not, it doesn't matter. And that there needs to be a place for people to go from all walks of life to actually connect together and make a difference. And that's what Halfway Healed is going to be about. And as I tell my friends when they listen to me rant next to coming to my TED Talk, I think my next video will be on things that I tried to do to heal that weren't connection or expression. And may God bless you. And as I like this, I want to close this out with a serenity prayer. So God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, the wisdom to know the difference. May thy will be done, not mine. And remember that the only thing you can't control are people, places, and things. And have a great day.